Hey, this is Darren Kidd, and yes, it has been a while since I have been live, so I'm excited to, share some stuff with you today that I believe, well, I know, is the quickest way to change your life and your business. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you three tips that are very simple, but yet very effective. They're things that I used to go from, being bankrupt and car repossessed, on government assistance, depressed, college dropout, living in a small area, to be able to go out and achieve the things that I've been able to achieve. And the great news is that it's something that each and every one of you can do. And so, first of all, welcome. Thanks for joining Ed. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and also which platform. You don't have to let me know which platform. It actually shows me on StreamYard. And so I know we got Ed on Facebook. We've got you on YouTube. Multiple Facebook pages. We got LinkedIn, we got Twitter, all that great stuff. And so anyway, it's awesome to see you on. And by the way, while you're joining, make sure you hit subscribe or like on whatever platform you're on, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start going live more than I have been. And that way you get alerts and you don't miss anything. But we're going to get straight into the content today. But first of all, I want to give you some exciting updates. Hey, we got Jeannie. Great to see you. And Culpepper. Yes, I miss seeing you in person. And so I want to, first of all, give you some big announcements. And some of these things I've been working on my entire life. And you're going to be one of the first people to actually hear the announcements. Number one, I have a book that just went to the printers and the printers. And that will be back in about 3 weeks. And so we'll do a big promotion launching my first book. And not only that, we will have an ebook version, and I'm also going to record an audio version. And so I cannot wait to get each and every one of you that information, because this book, even though it's going to be a short, I think we're 115, 117 pages. It is a book that is definitely going to impact your life and every aspect of your life. So I can't wait to get those details to you really soon. Another update is that we have I launched a new leadership podcast. And if you've not had a chance to check that out, it is on all the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, but it's also on YouTube. It is a video podcast. We're up to, this week is either the 12th or 13th episode. Some of those episodes I actually do myself, and then I'm also interviewing top network marketing leaders and entrepreneurs. I've got an interview set up this week. We'll give you a big announcement. It's one of the top social media and digital marketing experts in the entire world. So I'm doing that interview this week, and we'll take and send that to the editors and get it ready. And that will be released within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I can't wait to get you that content. So make sure you check out the new leadership podcast. And if you go to my website, darrenkidd.com, and for those of you that are watching, you should be able to see that on your screen. And there will be a link to the podcast so you can subscribe. Also, all my social media platforms, by the way, that's another update, complete new rebrand. We have pivoted. You're going to see a brand new website. You can see my new logo at the top of the screen. And so a lot has been happening over the last several months, so I can do my best to bring you training content and information that can help you get to where you want to be a lot sooner than later. So darrenkidd.com has been updated, new leadership podcast, new book that's coming your way, lots of great things happening. And then last but not least, before we get right into the training, is you can go to this link tree where it gives you my podcast, my Telegram group, all the different places that you can connect with me as well. And there's a free leadership training. There's a link. It's also on my darrenkidd.com. It's a 7.5 minute video I'd love for you to check out. And it talks about the 5 biggest mistakes that leaders make that sabotage their team growth and how to avoid them so your team can grow much faster. All right, now today I'm going to talk to you, just like the title said, the quickest way to change your life and your business. Everything. And if you have an aha moment, I would love for you to let me know in the comments, because that lets me know what's resonating. It lets me know, like, maybe when you put aha in the comment, or if you want to let me know what that aha moment was, I can expand on that in some of the upcoming trainings. We have a list. The team is putting together a list of all your questions, your challenges, your aha moments. That helps me create content and bring that to you in the future. So all your engagement, your interaction, it means a lot to me. I go back and I read the comments, so I really appreciate that. And when I talk about this today, I want to hit it from a little different perspective. Not only am I going to tell you what it is, I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do immediately to speed up your results. Now, here it is, because you're going to go, man, I've heard Darren talk about this before, but not like I'm going to talk about it today. So the fastest way to change your business and your life is to change your associations. You have heard me hit this from many different angles, but I'm going to tell you, I have never been more convinced and sold out and passionate about this as I am right now. Because every time that I go to a different level in my life, it's because I finally believe that I can. And when I go back and go, okay, why is it I'm only believing this now? Why is it that I'm only thinking like this now? What is it that changed, over all of these years? And it goes back to my associations. You cannot outdo your associations. They absolutely will work harder on you than you work on them. There's different little phrases that I continue to repeat because I know that spaced repetition. My wife and I went to a concert this weekend. It was an 80s cover band. And, it's crazy that some of these songs you may not have heard, or we may not have heard in a decade or more. And yet, every single word because of that spaced repetition. And so when I continue to say these phrases over and over and over again, then what's going to happen is you're going to, all of a sudden when you start thinking a certain way, boom, you're going to go, oh, this is why it's so important for me to be careful with my associations, because you catch what you're close to. And it's true. You catch what you're close to. And this has been like a light bulb moment for me over the last 12, 24, 36 months, because there were ways or things that I thought about, right? And the same thinking that got us to where we are is not the same thoughts or behaviors that get us to the next level. It takes a different way of thinking. And the reason that I was like, man, sometimes we can be enslaved mentally and not even know it because of what we're close to. Because we do catch what we're close to. And then when we have those things in our life, whether it's what we read, what we listen to, who we associate with, and we focus on those things, focus equals feelings. And when Les Brown, I heard him say this, and I'm like, it's so true that it's hard to read the label when you're in the box. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. And I'm like, what does that really mean? When I first heard them say that years ago, I don't think I really got that. But when we're so close to certain people, and again, it's not just people. I'm going to talk about what to do in just a second. A lot of times we're thinking the same thoughts, we're doing the same things, and here's why it's so important. Because what we read, what we listen to, who we associate with, that determines and creates our thoughts. Our thoughts create our feelings, and your thoughts and your feelings drive your activities, your behaviors, which determines our results. And it can be good or bad. It all goes back to protecting the gates here, your eyes, your ears, who is in your space. It all goes back to that. So you become the average of the people that you hang around the most. That's something you want to put in your notes. You become the average of your closest circle. A good question to ask yourself later on is, what are my associations doing to me, or what are they doing for me? What are they doing to me, or what are they doing for me? They're like an elevator. They lift you up or they bring you down. I've said that 1,000 times, and I believe it now more than ever, because the quickest way to change your life and your business is to be intentional about your associations. And I'm going to give you 3 simple steps in just a second. Proximity is power. I had a friend of mine that paid over $250,000, $250,000 to go to a weekend with Tony Robbins. And I'm like, wow, man, is it really worth $250,000? This has been several years ago. And he's like, Darren, proximity is power. The way these people think is completely different than anyone we've ever been around. And when you start hanging around those people, you think a little bit differently. You have bigger visions. You have bigger dreams. You have possibility thinking. They're positive. They're not negative. They're thinking about where they want to go, not where they've been, what they can control, not what they can't control. And they're continuing to, focus on the right things. And he came back and he's like, it was life-changing, right? So proximity is power. You also have to be careful of who you let speak into your life. I've seen research where it said, look, one negative comment is 14 times more powerful than a positive. When you have these people in your life that are constantly planting negative seeds and distracting you from your goals and your dreams, you got to be very careful about that. So why is it so important? You catch what you're closest to. And let's just be real, right? Just think about your life. If we hang around people that are focused on health, like they're exercising, they're eating healthy, they're avoiding sugar, they're drinking more water, what are we more likely to focus on? Our health. And again, they're texting, because I've got people in my life and I've been very intentional about every area of my life. So I've got people, we're texting videos back and forth and information on, sleep and water and, different vitamins or supplements and the right foods and intermittent fasting, like all of these different things. So if you're hanging around people that are focused on their health, you're probably going to focus on your health. If you hang around people that like to party a lot, you're probably going to party a lot. And so whatever area of life that we want to improve, we want to be intentional about those associations. A few reasons before I get into the 3 steps that associations are so important. Besides all those other things that I just talked about, knowledge, that's key. We all have the same hours in the day, but if you want to take and use leverage, then what wealthy people do is they spend their money to get time. When I hired one of the top 20 YouTubers again recently to help me, he's like, hey, he shared with me things that have taken him years to learn. So me investing that money, it's not a cost, it's an investment. I was able to skip forward several years of me trying to figure things out by learning from his knowledge. So when you hang around people that have what you want, then that knowledge comes to you a lot faster. And that's how you use leverage. Not only that, the networking. When you're intentional about your associations, as you increase your network, you increase your net worth. So you're around people that, they introduce you and their circles are completely different. Their circles are completely different. So it's a great networking opportunity depending on, and again, that's every area of your life. Credibility. When all of a sudden you're associating with different people, then you have credibility. You have that authority that you maybe didn't have before. You have referrals. When you start hanging around people that think differently and have what you want, and they come from an abundance mentality, not a lack mentality, I have found that successful people, they refer a lot more people than other people because they're not worried about, if I give this, then maybe there's a lack from me. They believe in the abundance mentality, and they know that you get what you give. And if you want something, you got to give more of it. So the referrals also, and again, some of the most successful people I've met in the last 24 to 36 months have been the most gracious people I've ever met in my life, to where I've gotten more referrals. I've learned more. I think differently. I act differently. Makes a difference. Let's get into the 3 things. What do you do? Let me know real quick if any of you, if you're having any aha moments. I would love to know in the chat. Again, very simple, basic stuff, but the basics are what help change your world. It's not the fancy stuff. So many times we think, oh my gosh, they've got to give me this long formula that's going to be so detailed, so complicated. It's not like that. It's little teeny things, but these little teeny things all together, they add up to big things. It's normally never one big thing. It's a lot of little things that compound over a period of time. Number one, audit. If I called you up and I go, hey, Howard, hey, great to see you, Howard. Hey, how do I get to Disney World? Tell me how to get to Disney World. Howard's going to ask me, he's like, Darren, where are you starting from? I can't tell you how to get there and give you a route to Disney World if you don't tell me where you're starting from. So awareness leads to change, and we have to take inventory of our own life. So when you audit and go, hey, look, let's figure out the starting place. When it comes to associations, it's not just people. Books are associations. What you read on the internet, what you read as far as a physical book, all of these things, it's a gate that enters the most powerful computer ever created. So what are you reading? What are you listening to? Is it trash? Is it gossip? Are they things that absolutely do not serve you in a positive way? Are you filling your mind with the bad stuff? Think about this as well. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I'm almost skipping ahead. So what are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you associating with? Very important. Who are you associating with? Some people you may want to limit your associations with. I'm not saying you got to ditch your spouse. Definitely not saying that, right? I'm saying, but if you have friends that are constantly negative, and here's what's crazy. We attract what we are, not what we want. Like attracts like. And when I was building my businesses, I don't care if it was in our franchises where we had managers and they would hire great people because they were a great manager, or if it was a manager that had lots of drama and lots of issues, they tended to attract that type of person when it came to employees. And I don't know why they would hire people with the same challenges they had, but it was a learning experience for me. But then building network marketing, businesses and having massive teams, I could look at an organization and it was like, oh my goodness, it was like they interviewed or they advertised and interviewed going, listen, if you're a fun-loving, happy, motivated, cheerful person, then you want to be on this team. And the entire team had a lot of those people. But then there was the other side where it's like a team full of drama. We have to audit. Sometimes the people in your circle are not in your corner. Who do you need to limit your time with? You may need to disassociate with for a certain time. And as I'm coaching people and working with people, and I know people in my life where I'm like, whoa, every single person that they hang around is a victim, or every single person that they hang around is negative, or every single person they hang around always talks about there's too much month at the end of the money. And they're all talking about political stuff and all the things that are wrong and what the government is not doing and what they should do. And they're not focusing on improving their life, focusing on what they can control, not what they can't control, making a positive difference, making a positive impact. They're not growing daily. So be very careful of who you let in your space and speak in your life. So take an audit of what you're doing on a daily basis and a weekly basis. Number two, what do you want? It's very important to determine what you really want, because if I don't know, I may know where I am right now going, hey, look, I'm not really listening to the right things. There was a period of time in my life where, I was getting up in the morning and drinking my coffee and watching Bad Morning America. It's not Good Morning America. It is Bad Morning America, because if it bleeds, it leads, and they want negativity and it's shock value. And it's taking more and more to shock us now than it ever has in the past. And so what happens is, they're just constantly bringing the negativity. And that was the way I would actually start my day. That's a bad way to start your day. So when you start to figure out where are you, and then where do you want to go? Where I'm right here in Virginia, but I want to go to Disney World. So hey, here are my goals and my dreams and my vision of what I really want out of my life. That's important. People say, hey, look, I will believe it when I see it. How many of us have heard that? I'll believe it when I see it. That's the opposite. You will start seeing it once you believe it. What gets your attention gets you. It's important to focus on the right things, what you want, where you want to go, what you can do about it. So number two was, what do you really want? Number three, you have to be intentional and create a plan. Be intentional and create a plan. I've seen different studies. I don't know the exact number, but I will bet you it's probably 80% of the people. The first thing that they see in the morning, it's not their spouse, it's not their kids, it's not something motivational, it's their phone. And whether it's instant stress and anxiety of all the things that I need to do and the people that texted me I've got to get back to, or they're scrolling through the scroll hole of Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be. And the compare-itis starts. They're comparing themselves to other people, the envy, the jealousy, the competition, all of that. First thing in the morning, you're letting someone else, and I was guilty of it, someone else determine what kind of day we're going to have, because the research shows in the first 2 to 3 minutes, it determines what type of day you're going to have by what you put in your head, what you think about. What I had to do, because I started being intentional and creating a plan, knowing that habits are great, because habits you don't really have to think about, right? A ritual or a habit or a routine, once you continue to do those things, you don't have to think about them. But what's really bad, if it's bad habits, then it's hard to grow and it's hard to change. Okay, let me know if y'all are getting some value. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, wherever you are, just so I know you're getting some value. You're still out there. What I had to do was go, okay, first thing I get up in the morning, it's an immediate attitude of gratitude. Like, thank you, God, for another day. Obviously, you're not done with me yet. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my children sleeping in the other room and their health. Thank you for a great spouse. Thank you for another day to go out and meet people and make an impact. Fear and anxiety and gratitude, they don't exist together. They can't coexist. It's like an eraser. When that fear and anxiety starts to kick in, when you start having an attitude of gratitude, it's like you just erase the anxiety away and the fear away. And then what I do is I immediately, whether it's meditation, then every morning I listen to a positive message. Let's be real. Do I feel like listening to a positive message first thing in the morning? No. But what does feeling like it have to do with it? If we're going to get something we've never done or get something we've never gotten, we got to do something we've never done. And let me just tell you this. Some of you think you have forever. We don't have forever. There is no dress rehearsal. I was thinking about this, preparing for this. I'm like, man, some people go, someday I'll go do this. Someday I'll go do that. Well, guess what? Someday, it may be tomorrow. It may be next month. We don't know. In the last 30 years of my life, since my oldest daughter, she's 29 years old, I had a 33-year-old, my aunt died of breast cancer. We had in the last 3 years, we had my nephew at 20 some years old. Him and his wife were in a house fire and they had 11-month-old twins. Well, my nephew and one baby didn't make it out. 20 some years old and 11 months old. My dad passed away at 58. My wife's grandfather passed away at 99 years old. He was on a tractor planting a garden at 98 years old. So I don't know. We don't know how long we have, and we keep putting off tomorrow thinking that someday we'll go do this and someday we'll go do that. Well, someday leads to a town called nowhere. But some people's some days are other people's every days, and it's time to get intentional about your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. Some of you, and how do I know? Because I did this. We spend more time. Let me know. You can be transparent. This is not, I'm not on here to make you feel good. Yes, I want to motivate you and inspire you, but I'm here to help change your world, right? Some of you, we spend more time preparing for our vacations than we do our actual life. We just get up and we're like a ping pong ball in a wind tunnel, bounced around a ship without a sail, hoping and praying for the best. We're going to cross our fingers and hope for the best. That's not the way to become the best version of yourself. And it's time that we stop thinking small. It's time we start thinking bigger. It's time we grow to the next level, not just go to the next level. We grow to the next level. It's time people like this. Guess what? If you're watching this live or on replay, it's not an accident. This is meant for you. And you're the type of person that I want to associate with, because most people would not even sit on here this long and watch this and take notes and go, how can I improve my life? How can I get better? How can I make a difference? How can I grow? But that's you. That's other people, not you. So it's time to be intentional. So what I do is I listen to a positive message. Sorry, it was a squirrel moment. Squirrel. But I listen to a positive message. And this is what I do. You don't have to do that. But Rick Warren, who wrote The Purpose-Driven Life, a lot of mornings I'll listen to a message from him at Saddleback Church, or Mike Todd, or Craig Rochelle, or whoever it may be. I will listen to some type of, most of the time for me, it's a spiritual message to enforce what I believe eternally. Then what I do is I have a Bible app and I have the audio version. So what I'll do is I will listen to that on the way to the coffee shop. And I've got my whole little routine. And then once I get my coffee, I've done that. Then I jam to some music on the way to my office. I'm in my office a little after 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I have positive playlist. I've got things set around me. I have set it up to give me the best possibility of a great day, to make sure I'm programming my mind with the right things, make sure I'm listening, I'm reading, all the right things. And then when it comes to the people in my life, when it comes to being intentional, do you have a list of people that you want to associate with? Now, it could be just like this. Right now, we are associating with each other. I am one of your associations. Now, I know I told you that we become who we hang around. So hopefully your hair part doesn't rub off on you, but maybe some of the other stuff will, right? Hopefully you'll have better hair than I do. It's not hard to do that, by the way. Most of you definitely have better hair than I do. But being intentional about your associations. Daily habits, daily rituals. At first we create them, then they create us. And by the way, people ask me, they go, Darren, you're so motivated, you're so driven. How do you stay so positive? It is not even a day-by-day battle for me. It is a moment-by-moment. This is me being real with you. I could be having the most amazing day. How many people amen this one? And one person say something stupid, or you see that one comment, and it can take you down a completely different path if we allow it. But what's happened is I am much better at immediately redirecting, blocking the negativity and fueling the positivity. I am much better. Now I've gotten to be a ninja at being able to fuel the positive, block the negative, redirect things, understand how I start to feel. And when I start going down that rabbit hole, the wrong road, and going, wait a minute, come back, what it takes, whether it's me going for a walk, changing my state, pouring positivity in. Sometimes I'll have positive stuff playing in the background, knowing my subconscious is always recording. And then at the end of the day, I do something similar, knowing, hey, look, before I go to bed, what you think about, what you read, what you listen to. So I have a shorter version of what I did in the morning. So it's a positivity sandwich, right? It's a positivity sandwich. I love, ice cream sandwiches. I love ice cream sandwiches, even though I don't eat them now, but it's having the positive in the morning, the positive at night. Then I know I marinate on for the next 6 to 8 hours what I think about and focus on before I go to bed. And those things, being intentional about your daily routine, intentional who you hang out with, what you read, what you listen to, who you associate with. That is also why I go out and I hire the best people I possibly can, whether I take their course or their training, or I hire them for a VIP day or to coach me virtually. But I know how important that is. Most people go, I can't believe you would pay that type of money. And I'm like, I can't believe you wouldn't pay that type of money. Why do I want to spend years of my life trying to figure out what to do right when I can compress time frames, use leverage, catapult ahead, and get to where I want to be? We all have the same amount of time. So the only way I buy more time is by my associations and being intentional and getting around those people that can get me there a lot sooner than later. That's exactly what I do. So as a recap, number 1, audit where you are right now. Number 2, what do you really want? Clarify that. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you energy. And it's not, I will believe it when I see it. You will see it when you believe it. Anything you ever achieve, you're going to achieve here first before you ever see it in reality. Bob Proctor said, if I can see it in my mind, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. If you don't know what you want, then how in the world are you ever going to get it? It's like me blindfolding you, spinning you in a circle saying, hey, hit the target. You're like, how can I hit a target I can't see? Well, how can you hit a goal and create a life that you don't have? You hadn't created your life. You got to create your life here. What would the perfect day, what would the perfect week look like? Again, create that in your head first. And number 3, be intentional and create a plan. And it's not a perfect plan. It's a daily plan that changes. But if you can get a little bit better today than you were yesterday, that's positive. Before I close out, again, rank up and, oh, well, here it is. Where is it? Let me hide it. All right, DarrenKidd.com. You got all my social media on there that you can link to. That's a brand new site, brand new brand. On there's a free training. It's a 7-minute training talking about, 5 mistakes that leaders make that sabotage their team growth, what to do so you can avoid those and grow much faster. And if you also go to that link tree that I had posted just a second ago, again, make sure you join the Telegram group, because when the book is ready to go, you're going to be the first ones to know about it, our community. So you can not only get a copy, but you can share it with your organization, because I put a lot into this book. And I can't wait to share with you the title, what it's about, and the stories that are going to come from that book. So thanks for joining, everybody. Have an amazing day. And again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take care.